Ryan, obviously, maybe an interesting week for you with Purdue and your history there. I guess how are you just approaching this week, and are you reflecting at all on your time there with this game coming up?
No, I've already had the reflection period as far as my time there. To us, it's or for me personally, it's another Big Ten game that we need to play well. Especially coming off of last week. So that's just been the focus is on how to improve, how to give our guys a chance to have success to win a ball game at home, and right the wrongs of a week ago.
What did you feel like were maybe the wrongs of the week ago for the defense? It seemed like a pretty complete game from you guys.
I really would have liked to get a stop when we had turned it over, backed up and forced a field goal. To me, like that's when you sort of take the next step as a elite defense. When you get opportunities like that in games where there's the final score might be 10-6 or 13-10 like it was. You get in those situations, those moments. You can't take the field frantic. You got to be super dialed, super locked in, and do everything you can to get a stop. That was really the drive in the situation. I was like, man, that would have been super cool to get a stop right there.
I just wanted to ask you, in the history of this place, every mainstream coach from Don James to Jim Owens to Chris Peterson got 3 years to turn their program around. They were successful in the third year, but not in the first two necessarily. Did you get shorted in becoming a Big Ten coach there? You got 2 years.
I mean, it's sort of in the past. Can't control it. Can't do anything about it now. I am appreciative of my time there and the experience that I had, and the people I got to work with every day, and the young men that I got to coach. So I'll always be forever thankful for that opportunity. But I'm having a whole lot of fun here, and really enjoy working at UW and being a part of Seattle's community, and I really enjoy working with the staff and the guys in the locker room.
I think last week we talked to you about your relationship with Brian Odom. I think Barry was one of the guys who kind of brought you up in Missouri. Mm-hmm. Now he's at Purdue. What is your relationship with him like, and what have you kind of taken from him over your career?
Yeah, really, you talk about guys that have influenced your career, and he was definitely one of them, especially early. He allowed me to sort of figure things out on the fly as a young coordinator. I started calling plays halfway through a season when he was the head coach there, and had to figure it out, during the season, and so being able to lean on him and how he went through his weekly process and the way he called games. Obviously now that I've gotten older and had more experience. You take things that you like, that you don't like from various people, but forever grateful for him giving my first start as a play caller. I got a lot of respect for him and what he's accomplished in his career. It's been really neat to see him bounce back from his first head coaching experience, and then going on to be a coordinator, and then having a lot of success at a program that hadn't had a whole lot of success in recent history at UNLV, and really flip that program and then now get his opportunity in the Big Ten. So, it's been fun to watch. It's always weird when you go to compete against, some from friends or guys that you've worked with in the past. But this industry is so small and so connected that eventually that's going to happen. I mean, it's already happened for me this year, going against Illinois. So it's just part of the game. It's, love being competitive, love competing, and anytime there's familiarity or history with the people across the sideline, it just adds to the attention to detail, the emotion, the backstories, all the things that you love about college football.
Ryan, you had a line of 120 yards on the ground in the first half and then 37 in the second half. What were some of those adjustments that you made at halftime? Because it looked like you guys were getting a little out physical on the ground early on, and then you were able to come out of the locker room and obviously just really change that up. Was there something you noticed on film? Was it the quarterback change? Or?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I feel like it's happened a lot this year where people run like a completely different offense than what they ran in the past. Luckily, we kind of caught wind that the freshman quarterback was going to get some playing time, and I assumed that the Danny O'Neal was going to be the starter, and he runs around a little bit, and I've got some familiarity with Coach Grimes, their offensive coordinator. He was the O-line coach when I was a player at Colorado, so I followed his career a lot, and we went back and looked at some of the stuff that they did at Kansas with an athletic quarterback when he was the OC there. So we were able to practice some of the schemes. They had some wrinkles that I thought were really creative, and so when you see those plays for the first time, your fits have to be perfect when they're involving the quarterback on the modern day triple option. You got to play with all 11. Like, all 11 have to be dialed in and have the right leverage and their eyes on the right spot. So I think it just took our guys seeing it a couple times and getting it corrected on the sideline and really settling into what type of game it was going to be. And then we were able to play well on third downs. So I think that also helped limiting the yardage in the second half.
Looked like I think Jed said Rashawn has a hyperextended knee. If he can't go, what does the nickel position kind of look like behind him?
We'll see kind of where our health is, in the secondary as a whole, and we'll find the right combination of the five guys that we need. Obviously based on game plan and what we think we're going to expect from Purdue. So, we'll have some healthy competition, but I feel like we got a good idea of the direction we'll go.
How much do you feel like this Purdue team enough where it could actually maybe make a difference in the game on Saturday?
There's like in today's college sports, like anytime there's a coaching change, there's also a complete roster overhaul. Obviously, I got familiarity with Ryan Brown. It's been cool to see his growth. I had a lot of fun with him when I was there. I had my first offensive coordinator experience with him at quarterback. We played against Illinois, and he played fantastic in that game. So I think that helps when you kind of know the quarterback. But everybody else, other than a couple offensive linemen, are brand new, and I've obviously got familiarity with Coach Henson, but he's grown a lot since his time as a coordinator at Missouri, and so you see a lot of things that he's changed, since that time, and they're really creative with how they run the ball, and asking Ryan to do things that he's good at, and so which is why they've been able to put up points this season against some really good teams. So we'll have our work cut out for us, and we gotta play really, really well to win a Big Ten game. This is as close to the NFL as you get. In terms of any given Saturday, that's why you go play the game, because anybody can win. So we got to make sure that we're doing everything we can this week in terms of preparation and the way we practice, how physical we practice, in order to put on a good performance, here at home and try to get a win.
I know your veteran linebackers have played fairly solid recent weeks, but Xe'ree seems like he's really coming fast. Does he have a chance to break in the lineup if that could happen?
I mean, he played a lot. If you watch every week, he's played more and more snaps, and rightfully so. I mean, the guy's playing well. He's playing fast. He's playing physical, and he's just getting more and more comfortable with the speed of the game, and with handling the amount of install that we do week to week in our game plans. So he controls how much he plays with how he performs in practice, and I would anticipate him continuing the trend of getting better every week. So his playing time will increase.
Yeah, I just asked that because there's been 6 true or redshirt freshmen that have started so far, and he would be number 7 if he makes that happen.
Yeah. If he ends up winning a starting job, that means we've gotten better. So I'm all for it, but he got to go out there and earn it.
Similarly, you talked about the secondary, but Mikkel, Jed said is kind of questionable. What does that safety depth look like behind RDA?
Vince Holmes got some snaps, and that's another guy that we're excited about. That's got multiple years. Very athletic. He can run. He can hit. Just the consistency with his play and doing the right things within the framework of the scheme. Needs to improve a little bit, but this is a guy that you just go play football in the parking lot, like he's going to be really good. So we'll be fine depth-wise. That's one thing I have enjoyed about our unit is they never flinch if somebody's out of the lineup. It's just sort of the next man up mentality. A lot of people talk about it, but they live it, and it's been proven this season with the amount of injuries and the fluidity that we've sort of had week to week on who's available. So, I wouldn't be too concerned about who's healthy or who's not. We'll be ready to go.
Is Vince an option at nickel too?
Yeah, there's a couple packages where he'll slide down in that spot. So, like I said, we'll practice today and see how guys perform and go from there.
Anything else, Coach? All right, thank you, Coach. Go ahead.
Jimmie, kind of a tough day against Wisconsin. What was just kind of your initial impression now that you had some time to digest what happened?
Yeah, it always comes down to execution. We didn't execute. Give them credit. They did some really good things to us physically and schematically, and did a nice job executing their plan against us. And we didn't handle it well. Is the bottom line. I think as the game went on, some of the other elements that were in that game, whether it be guys coming out of the game because of injuries, or now all of a sudden you're in a sleet, snowstorm, whatever it ended up being at the end of the game, with some wind and some elements, and we have to handle it better. You never want to say it was this, it was that, it was an excuse. We're not making those excuses. We have to handle it better. There were some things in that game though that we definitely just didn't do a good job of handling. Didn't do a good job at times of handling the situations in the game. Things like, we're up 10-3, we're driving, coach calls a double move, and the corner doesn't bite, and you just have to be smarter. And, shot called doesn't mean shot taken, right? Like, just because we called the play doesn't mean, you got to read and see what happens. And in that instance, you just want to check it down and live to fight another down, right? So things like that, it's such a fine line. We drive the first drive of the game and call a sprint out, and Denzel gets the first down, but he steps out, by an inch, and maybe we go down and go up 7-0 on that drive. And the way the game ended up playing out, those drives and those miscues were so big in a game like that. And then it just kind of, the field position took hold in the second half, and the elements and some of those things that we just got to do a better job of handling and playing that game. But super excited to get out today and get out to practice and fix the things we got to fix and keep it moving.
If Denzel was unable to go this week, would you dare put 3 freshmen out in the field at the same time?
If they're the 3 best guys, that's what we're gonna practice this week and see what those guys look like. We've talked in weeks past about the depth of the receiver room being a positive for us, and that's certainly the case right now as well. Hopefully Denzel, we'll see what he's able to do and what that looks like. But if the 3 freshmen practice well this week and they're the best guys, then that's what we'll roll with. But I know Amari's, chomping at the bit. He can't wait to get out there and get to practice and see what he can do with his opportunities. And Kevin Green and Audrey Carey, some of the other guys, see what those guys can do. That's what practice is for.
We saw some action for Pakifina at right tackle. How have you just seen him grow since you got here, and then how comfortable do you feel with him in that position if he tries to do it again?
Yeah, I think Paki, he just keeps getting better, as he's playing, playing the games and not just practice, but being able to get that game experience is always so critical for any football player. And I think he's just getting more and more settled, more and more comfortable in that role. Certainly there were some things in the game that we all could have done better up front. And they know that, and we got to improve upon that. But he's the guy that I think just continues to keep getting better as he gets those game reps.
Is he the main option at right tackle if Drew can't go, or are you guys considering moving someone else out there?
I think we're looking at everything's on the table. Everything's on the table right now, kind of like the receivers or whatever it might be, any position. You got to figure out what's the best mix, what's the best combination of guys, and I'm sure we're going to get a little rotation out there between him and Swane and maybe even John Mills out there. So see what that looks like, mix it all up, and figure out what's best for this coming Saturday.
Jed also mentioned Champ as an option there since he played some tackle in high school. As one of those true freshmen who we haven't necessarily seen a whole lot of yet, what has his progression path been like since he arrived?
I think he's getting close. He's getting closer and closer to us feeling really comfortable with him going in the game. I think he feels the same way. He's continued to practice, well throughout the year and just continue to develop and keep getting better. We all know he's a highly touted guy coming in, and he's got a ton of talent. His ceiling is very high. Super excited about him and what he's going to do in his career here. And right now, we need him. We need him to step up, and he knows that, and we'll see what it looks like.
Is that all we got?
Another kind of game where Decker wasn't totally involved. I guess, how do you guys keep him involved in the passing game, and how's his development going outside of just being a pass catcher, I guess?
Yeah, I think it was more, again, just kind of the flow of that game. It was just a weird game, whether it was the elements or the field position second half, things like that. Had an opportunity, late in the game, and I know he wanted that play back on a drop, on a RPO for us. That was big, But Dex, again, like a lot of these guys, they're young players that are continuing to develop, continuing to get better as they get those game reps in those situations. He's always a part and a factor in our game plans, and we're very comfortable using him and throwing the ball to him and using him as part of our packages. But, that game, the ball just didn't find him for whatever reasons. But, again, very excited about him now and moving forward. And it was great having Q back, too, again, and seeing him get that catch and finish on the sideline and that physical presence that he brings. So I'm excited about the tight ends, continue to be excited about them.
With Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio State, the kind of three outlier offensive games, has there been anything that you saw through all three of those that is diagnosable, or has it just kind of been a bunch of different things?
Yeah, I think every game is its own entity, and what happened, we kind of unpack it that way. When you look at it, the last two with Michigan and Wisconsin, we didn't handle going on the road very well. I think the elements got to us a little bit, being unfamiliar with the surroundings, weather in one game, but just being in those new stadiums, new environments, whatever it might be. I know coaches talked about it a lot in terms of those teams are very, very big, and physical, long. Athletes on the defensive line, and really, throughout the whole defense, linebackers, safeties, corner, like they're just big people in this conference. And so as we continue to develop our guys and recruit and make sure that we can match up and do a great job at that, it'll get better and better. But it always comes down to there's stuff in that game where we're like, man, we had opportunities, we had things that we could have done better, handled better, and that game is completely different, from like I said, first drive of the game, you step out by an inch and you get that first down. Maybe you go up 7-0 in a game like that. That's a huge deal, right? Maybe you go up 17-3 instead of forcing that ball on a double move. Like those are all things within our control, and stuff that, like I said, can't wait to get out to practice and go fix those things.
All right.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Hi there.
Hey, X, seemed like a pretty solid game from the defense. What did you feel most proud about after the game, and where's maybe the next step for this group going forward?
I felt most proud of like how our guys dealt with adversity. Just helping the offense out. Like whenever offense, got 3 and out, just defense was able to just come back and just step up and get another 3 and out, or just like make sure the other team just punted the ball. So I felt like our team really handled adversity. So.
You've continued to see your role grow in this defense. Is there one spot where you feel most comfortable with, or do you like to move around a little bit? Because we saw you line up an outside linebacker and inside. Is that just something you feel a little more comfortable doing?
I'm comfortable at like wherever they need me at. I know all the plays, so if I need to go play at DN or inside or outside linebacker, I'm comfortable with all of it. So wherever they need me to play, I'll be able to be there. I'll just be there.
Each time you've transferred, you've moved up a level. Has this worked out really well for you in expanding your game?
Yeah, I feel like it's helped a lot. I'm proud of myself just to see where where I'm at right now. Like from just going up every level that I can. I feel like just each level has helped me improve so much. So yeah.
And also, you've never had all the linebackers together at once. Buddha got hurt, and Manu was recovering, and Xe'ree was recovering, and at one point, all 5 of you guys, the main guys that are playing right now and capable of starting, are all going to be playing against each other probably starting next year. You ever think about the competition when that happens?
Yeah, I think about it a little bit, but I don't think as it being a problem. Like we're all going to be playing. It's great to have competition, and it's just great to get all the guys back and just fight and compete for the spot. But it's all we got to win as a team. So while we're competing, we're also working together as a team just to get where we need to be. So.
You mentioned leveling up with each new school that you found yourself at. What is it about the Big Ten that you've just learned about yourself, or where have you just seen your game improve the most?
I would say my coverage abilities. Past previous schools, I'll say Idaho. Like when I was there, I just kind of got told what to do and I just did it. But each level has helped me understand the knowledge of the game and what my role is on the team, and I feel like being in the Big Ten has really helped me understand everything, how my role is, just leading the defense, supporting, being my run fits, or even coveraging. But I feel like this is the biggest one, where it's helped me really jump. So my knowledge and everything. So.
What were some of the biggest adjustments from the first half to the second half on defense for you guys?
First half, I would say was a quarterback run game. After number 18 there was a lot more quarterback run game. Second half adjustments, we were just more focused on mostly just a QB run game. Is just stopping the run. But that was mostly it. We knew when they were gonna throw the ball, they weren't really gonna do much. But just that quarterback run game, we just had to really focus on and just shut down. So.
X, you played a lot on special teams. It's kind of a rough game for them against Wisconsin. How would you evaluate the way you guys have played on special teams up to this point, and specifically in that Wisconsin game?
I would say just that Wisconsin game, we had a lot of mental errors, but we always work and we'll always learn from our mistakes. That would never happen again. With Adam doing the T-bar when Amari was catching the ball, that would never happen again. I have full faith in our special teams that we will do a lot better this week than what happened last week. So yeah.
I know the season's in play. Has your weight leveled out because of that, or are you still putting on pounds?
I'm still putting on some pounds. I'm still around 240. I've maybe lost a couple pounds here and there, but that ain't gonna stop me. I'm gonna keep eating and keep working hard. I'm always gonna come to work every day. So Yeah.
What's a good weight for you to top out at?
Right now I'm 238, but by the end of this week I'll be back 240, 242. So.
What's it like playing with Zay? You guys have played together a lot, it seems like, these last couple of weeks.
It's great. It's great having a young guy on the team. It kind of helps me around too, cause like I get to help him out on the field, and he sometimes he be helping me out. So it's great to help develop him because he's a young guy. But he's gonna keep learning, keep growing.
You're a guy who played a lot, obviously, as a true freshman at Idaho. How does that impact the way that you maybe try and help him out, and does it make you feel impressive that he's doing this at this level now?
I think it's great for him. I see a little bit myself in him, but he's doing it at a higher rate in a bigger time picture. You know what I mean? But like he's just he's gonna be a great player. Like seeing him doing basically kind of like what I did at Idaho, do it here. He's gonna be a great player.
Did you know him at all from being in the area? Or?
Yeah, I knew him a little bit growing up and stuff. Yeah.
How many years do you think?
I'd say like 3 years, like throughout high school and stuff. I know I had a couple guys at his school that I used to play with. So. Yeah.
When your brother played here, you were in high school. Were you coming out here watching him play?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I got a bunch of videos of him balling out during like spring ball and stuff. Wish he would have got on the field more, but they had a really good stacked wide receiver room during that time. So, yeah.
What's it been like for you playing for Coach Odom this year?
It's great. It's great. Yeah. At first it was a little rough because like I didn't really know him, but like once I really got to know him and understand him as a coach, he's probably one of the best coaches I've ever been around. So.
How would you describe him as a coach?
Tough. I love it. He's tough on all of us, but like in a loving way. Like he just wants us to be great, and he'll do everything he can to make sure that we understand what we're doing, and also like just pushing us to be the best that we can be.
Not asking you to speak for him, but coaching against his brother this weekend, I imagine this one means a little bit more for you guys.
Oh yeah, it definitely means a lot for us. Like as the whole group, even him. Like we're gonna come out today during practice, and we're just gonna ball out, just thinking about destroying Purdue. So.
Is there any motivation similarly for Coach Walters? Obviously coming from there to maybe get him a little bit of a lick back.
Oh yeah. Like the whole defense is fired up. Like the whole team is fired up, just to go out this week and just ball out. So. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you guys.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Go ahead.
Kind of a rough game against Wisconsin. Just I guess how would you evaluate the way the offense played and how you guys can kind of improve from this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it wasn't a game we wanted to play. We wanted to play much better, obviously, And going back and watching the tape, there's a lot of stuff that we needed to execute, and we just didn't. And that's just going back to the drawing board and finding ways to get better each week. So we know this week is an increased focus from us, and we know we got to be much better this week.
Devon, what can a game like that help you teach yourself about you and your whole team?
Yeah, I would say just keep adding, trying to be resilient throughout the season. Having a rough game as an offense is never good, especially, not able to get the win. You just want to come out the next week and just be able to play better and try to, get that feeling out of your system.
I know you played in the rain here and probably down in Arizona, but was this different in Wisconsin with the sleet and the chill and all that? Was that new for you as far as game day environment?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it was pretty cold and, all those other factors, outside factors going into the game. But, we knew it was going to be like that. We knew it was going to be cold. We knew there was a chance of it snowing and stuff like that. So, we try to not use it as an excuse. And, at the end of the day, we still got to execute regardless of the circumstance.
With the is there any play in particular that you maybe wish you had back, or is there any moment in particular that you wish you could have made a different decision?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, there's a ton of plays where I feel like I could have, done much better, and the 2 turnovers are obviously the ones that I'd point out myself. Being going backwards in the pocket with bad ball security is just unacceptable, and I understand that, and just trying to make sure I don't repeat that same issue and repeat the same problem going into this week. And obviously the interceptions is along the same lines. Just got to be smarter on first down, not to take that shot, and just take what the defense gives me like I have been this year. And it's just one of those hiccups where in those type of games you just can't have it.
With Denzel out, we got to see a little bit more of Chris Lawson, who obviously was in and out of the rotation during fall camp because of an injury. How have you guys just developed your chemistry, and then what have you just seen from him growth-wise since he got here?
Yeah, I mean, he's getting much better, each week. Just trying to harp on him to, stay in his playbook and continue to grind each week, and we'll continue to grow that chemistry through that. And meeting after practice, throwing extra routes, finding ways to get each other better throughout the week.
Jed talked a lot about how growth isn't linear, right? You'll have highs and lows. How do you approach navigating that and kind of staying even keeled through a season like this?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely just trying to understand that you're gonna have good games, you're gonna have bad games, and sometimes this is what it is, and it's a part of growing and getting better as the season goes on. But the only way to get better from them is to learn, and for you to go back and watch the tape and be real with yourself and understand the mistakes that were made during the game, and just make sure you don't repeat them.
What is the thing you feel like you've learned the most about yourself in this first 9 games of the season?
Yeah, I would say just kind of the same thing, just understanding that there's going to be tough times throughout a season and throughout a game. Just making sure that my mindset, my mentality doesn't get thrown off from one play or a couple plays in the game, because at the end of the day, there's always a lot of game left to play usually. So making sure just having that mindset throughout games and continuing to just try to be as resilient as I can for this team.
How long does it take for you to flush it after a game? The plane ride home, or before that, or when have you moved on from just the disappointment?
Yeah, I mean, I would say usually about a day or two, or watching the tape the next day, just figuring out what I could have did better, and then just try to go into this new week with a new mindset and figure out how we can get better.
If Denzel can't go, Amari seems like another option at wide receiver. How would you describe his traits and what makes him impactful for you guys?
Yeah, he's a really good player, and he gets open, he makes plays. So it's just my job to give him the ball and, just let him go do what he does.
Is that going to be weird for you if Jonah's not out there? Because he's started 22 straight games, and he's questionable according to Jed. And would that be kind of strange not to have him available?
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be different, but as the season's gone on, we understand that injuries happen. People get hurt every week, so making sure that we have the next man up mentality and make sure that Adam and all of our other backs are ready as well, just in case. But I have high hopes for Jonah to play, and that's my guy, so I'd love to have him out there if he can.
You came in with Adam. Obviously, we're at Arizona together. Come up here to Washington together. What's he like, and what's your relationship with him like?
Yeah, Adam's my guy. I mean, I've known him since, kind of the same as Des, since we were kids. Kind of being in Arizona, you kind of know everybody. And, he was on the west side, the West Valley of Arizona. So, being able to play against him in tournaments and stuff and see him around, see him do his thing on the high school level, and then being able to team up in college and see how he works and see his work ethic, it's just really inspiring for me to see how he works and to see how he goes about his day-to-day.
All good? All right, thanks for your time.
Appreciate it.